one thing I loved in kind of doing my homework for this movie is a long time coming. Just unfortunately, like Lily's efforts. Can you talk a little bit about the origin story when you kind of first discovered her and Rachel?
Well, I knew of Lily long before the film. My mother raised 5 working daughters, so you can imagine how important Lilly Ledbetter is. My mother and father, but my mother also was a working woman. She ran a city, the great city of New Orleans, under the great mayor, Mitch Landrieu, president of the city council. So I lived with a powerhouse. So, but Lilly Ledbetter was always a part of my life, and but I knew I didn't know of Rachel's whole journey to get it made, and then I was in London shooting with the great Brendan Gleeson, this wonderful series I did with him called State of the Union, and I get a call that I have been offered Lilly Ledbetter. And I remember thinking I had copious amounts of lines to learn for the next couple of days of shooting, and I was overwhelmed. But I said to my agent, I said, oh my God, Lilly Ledbetter. And I said, this will be a very fast yes. And it was. I found time. I read it during the day. And, you know, I was fortunate. I got offered this remarkable human being and to play this remarkable woman. You know, we're called upon. As actors, I've played a lot of unsavory characters in my life. I think you've seen me poison my children. But anyway, but I was given, this was such a beautiful gift, one of the rare moments in my life to be asked to play a great American woman.
Yeah. I think so often when I have the privilege of speaking to actors, the kind of the right project at the right time. Mm-hmm. And even though I believe Rachel started, is 2013, right?
She started this long ago.
So forever ago.
And I was not part of that journey.
Yeah.
And then, thank God. Like Lily, she took the journey with Lily. Yeah. But Rachel started this. But it's hard to get a film made about a great American woman.
Right. Totally.
I'm not naked.
How did you know that that's what sells? To some people. Well, can you talk a little bit about Rachel? We're talking about co-writer and director Rachel Handler, who directed television, but this was her first.
So you can imagine this was a really remarkable moment for Rachel. Wonderful, beautiful woman, kind and soft-spoken, but taking on this monumental task of a remarkable human being in our lifetime. But she got to know Lily and, of course, fell in love with her and fell in love with her story and her strife and said, I will not give up on you. But it was the reason this film happened was Rachel Feldman. That's it, And then the other remarkable thing that happened, which gives all of us hope, is so many remarkable women across the country wrote checks to get this. That's how we made money. That's how this movie was made. You guys, Netflix did not fund that. No, it was remarkable women. I'm looking at all the beautiful women in this audience. People like you wrote checks and made this film. That's how this damn movie got made. Ow!
That's fantastic. Yeah. And also you had a lot of women in front of it and behind the camera.
Oh.
Yeah.
We were lousy with women. It was so fabulous. So we went to Atlanta, and it was a lot of women on the crew, and it's wonderful. But let me tell you, the other exciting part of that is there were so many women on the crew, which was magnificent. But there were a couple of older men on the crew who had been, guys who had worked, behind the scenes for years in Atlanta. And there wasn't a lot of money. This wasn't a high-paying crew job, okay? We didn't have excess money. But a couple of these older guys were like, Patricia, and I make them call me Patty, but they were like, I'm doing this for my daughter. I'm doing this for my granddaughter. And that's how all of these remarkable, beautiful men showed up for us, you guys. It was really very moving to me. And at the end of the shoot, everybody was in tears, especially some of these older men. It was really a moment in my career, and I've had so many. I'm exhausted. But these incredible people who came together to make this movie happen. And they came together for different reasons, but really all one reason is that Lilly Ledbetter kicks ass.
She stayed after it. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about learning about Lilly? Because I know, very sadly she passed 2 days after the movie premiered, right? Is that correct?
3 days.
But she at least was aware and knew this was happening.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, look, we're all actors. I work in a very specific way. And sadly, I knew the great Lilly Ledbetter, had her on high. And you can't act someone, you can't portray someone, you can't become someone that's there. You have to bring them here. You have to put their feet on the ground. You have to connect to their heart, their soul, their gut, their mind, their emotional life. So I said to Lilly, I really think it's best we don't meet till after. I have to take the best parts of me. And a lot of my mother also. I said, I have to make Lilly me and mine. And if I meet you, I imprint. We imprint very quickly. We meet someone, we're like, we're like, and I thought, you know what I'm talking about. But I couldn't meet her. I didn't want to portray her or play her or make her a character. I just wanted her to seem like all of us, like just an ordinary woman, which exactly what she was. She wasn't she wasn't the woman Obama acknowledged 10 years later. This woman fought just as an ordinary woman. And so Lilly and I made a promise that, I would meet her at the end. And we were going to do a big screening at the Hamptons Film Festival, which was very prestigious, of Saturday night. They gave us this extraordinary slide. It was packed to the rafters, but she got sick, and
but she was aware. She knew.
She knew. She had seen the film.
Okay.
She was beautiful, very complimentary. She loved it. But the night of the screening at the Hamptons Film Festival, it was. We got this insane 10-minute standing ovation. People were screaming and shouting and screaming and shouting through the film. I don't know if you guys were reacting throughout the film, but people were screaming and shouting but sadly she passed about 72 hours after the screening, but she's with me in spirit, and her beautiful daughter Vicky was there, and Vicky's family, and that apple falls very close to that tree, and I'm just fortunate to have taken her on. It weighs heavy on me, but it's a very emotional, because my mother is so much a part of this film too, and she passed. So Lilly and my mother are having a lot of fun somewhere.
Yes, they definitely are. Especially, I'm just so glad she got to see it. Can you talk a little bit about, what maybe delighted you in learning more about her, that what maybe you didn't know? Because I'm so impressed with how much ground the film covers, and it's always so insane how long change takes, right? Like when I started when I'm watching the film, I'm like, wait a second, we're in what year? And how long it's going to take us to get there. So it was very well
just
done.
A brief moment. That was the most difficult part, because we didn't have money. We weren't shooting in sequence in any way. So I had no idea some days. So about a month into shooting, you guys, you realize I'm in every scene. I'm shattered. And about a month into shooting, I've told this before, and it's terrible, but I show up on the set, and I'm like this. It's like 7 a.m., and I'm in full hair and makeup. But I'm in a certain wig. I don't fucking know what And I'm like this. I'm at this thing, and you're Rachel, my director, and I'm like, Rachel, how old am I? How old am I in this goddamn scene? She looks at me and she's like, Patty, you're 40. And I'm like,
Yes, she is. Yes. That wakes you right
I
up.
said, I'm ready to shoot. Let's go. You know, but that's literally how I existed for like it was brutal, because we were so out of sequence and so, you know, in keeping the emotional life and the temperament of a woman who's traveling through 3 decades. We all know we're not. I'm 65. When I was 40, no, I had very different feelings and a very different faith.
That's not true.
Not really. I've never done anything to my face, but the night is young. But
We are in Los Angeles.
but no. But you know, I mean, it's brutal, but we have to honor our time, our passage, as we age as men and women, and especially as actors, we want to capture someone's life and not have it be caricature or some kind of momentary thing. You want to think, oh, she's lived in that decade. She's lived in that decade.
Yeah.
You know, and I, you know, through these decades, I had the great John Benjamin Hickey, who is one of my dearest friends. I've known him forever. I used to date his best friend.
Oh, that's nice.
But I really had a crush on him.
That's so. No wonder that dynamic is so lovely. He's a great.
He's so beautiful in this film, isn't
Yeah.
he? John Benjamin Hickey and Tommy Sadowski. I mean, I mean, are they not like? And they had to show up and play the girlfriend parts, which we've all played. Okay, they had to show up and be these supporting characters, and they showed up with such grace, and enthusiasm and love, and they were the wind beneath my wings every step of the way.
It seems like it was kind of the right people, the right time, the right project.
We all came together for the right reason.
Was there any? I mean, I love some of the tactile elements or like temporary skills you acquire in your profession. Was there any aspect of the tire work that was fun, or was it all insane?
That they're
They're
really
tough.
heavy and smelly and unbearable. And I would do that, you guys. I did this on several scenes. And let me tell you something. After Lilly made trouble, good trouble, of course, they put her back on that line at 60.
That's so insane.
60.
Yeah.
She was lugging those tires all day long. I shot one day, roughly at 61, 62. I thought, is there an ambulance standing by? It was brutal. And the smell and the weight, and I don't know how she did it.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. And I'm strong, I'm very strong, but I don't know how she did this. It was beautiful how she withstood this, because what she was fighting for was not money. Yes, it was unequal pay, but she suffered misogyny and ageism and sexism. It was just a cornucopia of injustice.
Right.
And that's the beauty of what she withstood. I mean, she was fighting for all of us,
Yeah.
across this country.
Yeah. Just for the
All of
chance to do the job like everyone else is doing.
And she was working brutal shifts. They gave her bad shifts. She was working a lot of night shifts, not waking up with children. Charles was suddenly, was ill at the end, missing time with Charles. She wasn't a perfect woman, but she was trying to be. She was trying to be a great mother and great wife, but she was working her ass off.
Yeah.
And it's
You premiered the film in last October, I believe, right?
Yes,
For the Hamptons.
and then we've taken it across.
Yes, and the release date is coming up
May 9th.
next week, so May 9th.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how you feel. Yes, we're getting close to the release date. From getting the project off the ground, getting it wrapped, premiering it, to great reception. How are you feeling now on this side of it, kind of going into release and interacting with audience members? And I don't know if you've had particularly great reception or reactions from maybe people that knew Lilly or knew this.
Well, it's been, I've taken it across the country and many different places and different landscapes in this country. But this is the one thing that stays true. And it's sad, and you look at our country right now, we are all truly Americans. We all actually understand injustice, and we understand what a warrior is, and we understand what a great woman is, whether we are man or woman, whether we are black or white or brown, whether we are Catholic or Muslim or Jewish. We understand fighting, that's why we're Americans, that's why we're here. And that's what has happened across this great country. I still call it great.
Yes.
Ow!
Yes.
Is that what unites us is our fight. What unites us is that we are unforgiving. We are intolerant of ageism and sexism and racism. We are intolerant of all of the things she suffered. We believe in fight and not flight. I don't think any of us want to flight. We don't want to move. We don't want to go anywhere else. We want to fight. And so Lilly, had to do this with nothing. She had it was only when Congress started to realize what a remarkable human being she was. I mean, think about it. She won a lot of money and was overturned by an all-male jury. Mm-hmm. That would never stand today. Well, it might, but that would never stand.
Yeah.
And so, this wasn't a fight for money. This was a fight about injustice. This was a fight about a woman who was. This is a truly, uniquely American story. A woman raised in Possum Trot, Alabama, with absolutely nothing. And not that I have anything. A lot of the Kennedys are one. She wasn't a Kennedy. She wasn't rising from some platform, from some, family history. She was rising from nowhere. And we forget that there are great people in this country who do. Mm-hmm. And we have to honor and make sure we support those people. And when President Obama, a black man from Hawaii, 30 years her junior, it gives me such an emotional that man looked at this woman and said, I understand you. I get you. I know what this was. I know what this struggle was. You gave a decade of your life to fight for this. You suffered such injustice, and she was on the ropes for so long, you guys, knocking on so many doors. But it was President Obama who said, I see you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see you.
President Obama and I was very delighted to see Justice Ginsburg.
Oh yes. Well, I'm saying the end. No, there were Ginsburg, many Congress, many people in our legislature, started to realize, how many doors they could knock on. I joke after shooting this movie, I'm surprised that anybody in Congress has doors with so many people knocking on them.
Right.
I'm surprised they haven't been taken down.
Right. Well, I love, since we're, at SAG and talking about acting and a wonderful moment in your career, I think obviously this film has impacted you in such great ways. How do you kind of say goodbye to projects? Obviously, I don't know if when you're if you have like a way to say goodbye to a character or a performance, obviously you're still in kind of the mode of getting this story out to the world, but is there a way you sort of turn over a new page? Because you also are very booked and busy. So I don't know if there's like a way you come down from things in between.
I was rather happy to let go of the lady from Sharp Object.
What? She was so moral.
I don't want to poison any more children. And but I still loved her.
Yeah.
No matter what no matter what characters we play, we have to love them. We have to believe in them. We have to want them to succeed. We have to want them to be loved. We have to love them, and so they will be loved back, even if they are dreadful.
Yeah.
Lilly, because of my personal connection to this remarkable human being and her passing and my mother passing a little bit, my mother and Lilly, Lilly will stay with me for the rest of my life.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And I hold her in such a beautiful near and dear. I have a picture of her on my refrigerator, and it stays there. I see her every day, and I value just the beauty of her.
Yeah.
And her life. She is such a life well lived, and I'm thankful.
Yeah.
I'm always thankful.
A reminder to not give up, especially.
So, sometimes we hold on to the characters we play because they're exceptional, and there's no reason to let them go. They make you a better person. I see Lilly on my refrigerator. I'm like, Patty, don't complain.
That's so nice.
Don't complain.
I have a lovely question from Colleen, who has lovely handwriting, by the way. What is one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you first started in this wonderful business?
That I could survive, that I could weather the storms, and I didn't think at first I could, because our industry is tough. It's a beautiful industry, but not all of it is, and we but we're all mercurial, and it's always shifting, and there's always amazing new people stepping in. And there's always a new person when you're younger and you're starting out, or even when you're older. And you say, well, I've met that casting director. But then suddenly there's a new casting director. Or suddenly there's a new producer on the scene. He says, wait, I want to see that person. I really loved her years ago in something. I want her in this. Or a new director. There's always... We are a business of turnovers, if nothing else. Indeed. And we survived a strike. And we survived remarkable moments. And I wish I had known that it seems so daunting and Sisyphusian. That mountain seems so high and the boulder seems so large. But the boulder seems tiny to me now.
Ooh.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to I didn't get that job. Somebody new will step in. I'll get the next job they're doing. Okay. I have a certain... I have certain acceptance of this industry now. But I also love it, and I hope we don't ever lose our love, because there are remarkable people in our industry. And not everybody, but many, many, many people who want people to succeed and to make a living and to be great. And first timers, look at Rachel, who's never directed a movie, and at 67, she steps up to the plate and directs this beautiful film about, one of the great women in our lifetime. So doors do still open in our industry.
Do you feel optimistic kind of what's ahead? Because I feel like the projects I keep seeing, it feels like we've got more women telling more colorful stories, at least from when I started like 20 years ago, just as a journalist.
Oh, I think women
yeah.
have moved way ahead. You guys, when the first movie I ever did was The Untouchables, even my makeup artist was a man. Okay, it was it was all men. My mother came to visit me on the set, and she was like, "Patty, it's just a mile of men." Not that that's a bad thing, but it's true. I mean, there was just it was nothing, and white men.
Yeah.
You guys, things are very, very, very different from 1985 to now. What year are we in? I've been up since 6 o'clock. I have on fake eyelashes. I hope they're still on.
Oh, they look great. They look natural. I'd
Trying to
never
look good
guess.
for everybody. But no, I mean, things have radically changed, and I think people of color, women, we have made huge advances. We still have a ways to go.
Yes.
We still need more people. I think more people, especially women, behind the camera.
Yeah.
We need more women directors. We need more women, but we are, there. Look at TV in particular. Yeah. It's all women who lead the big series. It's a lot of women, and we make money for them, and we win awards, and they tell our stories now more than ever. But we still don't tell enough stories about great women.
Yeah, I agree.
We still don't tell enough stories about great American women.
Yeah.
We haven't told enough stories.
Well, I hope
the last story was Shirley Chisholm. We haven't had a lot of movies about, and Kerry Washington had that amazing movie about those women during World War II, and I was like, oh my God, I never knew about these women.
Yeah.
My God, this is scandalous that we don't know about these women.
Yeah. How do you, in having worked for so long and so well, I would have to say, do you find that you can tell, like, when someone comes up to you? Do people come up to you about a certain project, or does it run the gamut? Because again, you've had success in so many ways, protagonists,
and very many first-time directors, and very many women directors. I've worked with Lisa Toledano. I've worked with many. Ruben Nada 3 times. Isabel Quachette 3 times. And not that I don't love the male directors I've worked with. Oh my God, if they hadn't been married. Anyway. But no, I
even think of, like, when you Google, it's so fun to Google you because, again, it runs the gamut of all the things you've done, like your beautiful SNL appearances where you pop up.
I did crazy stuff. I've done crazy things.
Easy A is a favorite.
No, Easy A, beautiful. And to think that Stanley and I were the kind of, and there's Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Like, a young girl named Emma Stone. And we all knew when we were sorry. We were all like, Stanley, we better step aside. We better be really good. Start improv and we better step up our game. No, I have faith that there's. I look forward to working with another new director. I look forward to working with a woman of color who's directing me. I look forward to working with a wonderful new male director. I look forward to I'm open. And there's no part I long for. Everybody's like, what do you long to do? I was like, have you looked at my resume? I mean,
you've been busy.
What can I long for? I don't long for anything. I just long to do something that's going to challenge me. That I'm going to not know what the hell age I am when I show up on a set. And then rise to the occasion. Because I've done enough that I say, okay, I know how to do this. But I also still want someone to come and offer me a part, and I say, oh my God, what would I do with this?
Fun, yeah.
I don't know can I do this? I always want to wonder. Those are the parts I want. Can I do this?
Yeah,
can I take this on? Can I actually, that's why Lilly was so daunting. 40 to, can I take this woman through decades? Can I give her the gift of her remarkable life, her life well lived? And I'm not saying I need to play somebody who's great and remarkable. I'd like to play a really naughty person again.
Yeah.
But in whatever way that you interpret that.
Yeah.
But
we've gone over our time, but
I got to take my false eyelashes off.
Thank you so much for staying. May 9th, Lilly. Talk
Thank
to everyone.
you so much, you guys.